Hi guys, Paul here at Radioshop Pickups in South Wales. Thanks for tuning in to this first episode of Radioshop Tone Tips. And what I'm going to go through today, I'm going to go a little bit, and people in the UK will know what this means, hopefully if you're of a certain age, I'm going to go a little bit Johnny Ball on your asses today, because I'm going to get a little bit sciencey and talk about, pickup making really in sort of general, but also I'm going to give some definitions, because the name of this video is Guitar Pickups, Handwound versus Machinewound. I'm going to talk about what those two terms mean, and I'm going to give you a bit of a demonstration of some of the sort of principles of winding a guitar pickup and the effect it'll have on your tone. Okay, so I've got, behind me there's lots of sort of finished guitar pickups there. Those are ready for wax potting. Here is a pickup which is effectively about halfway through, and this is kind of the relevant point that we're talking about today, which is, so I've got a pickup here, and what we do when we make a pickup, and this is a Strat pickup as you can see, okay, as the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice, we start by taking the bobbin material and pressing it into pressing 6 alnico magnets into that bobbin material, then putting the top on, and obviously there's a certain depth, and we're choosing the depth because that has an effect on the tone. And then we dip it in nitrocellulose, and then really, once that's dry, it's ready for winding. Okay, and we choose our wire. This is like a sort of late 60s spec wire, which is black plain enamel, and this is what we use for a lot of our pickups, our most popular pickups, which is foam var, or heavy foam var as it's known, and it's copper wire with a certain coating. Okay, now this is going to bring me to the first sort of question that I get from a lot of people, which is, what does hand wound mean? And they ask me the same question, which obviously seems a little bit silly to me, because obviously as a pickup maker they say, do you turn the pickup by hand? Okay, now classically a Strat pickup is made with 8,000 winds. Okay, so if you can imagine now, I've got this copper wire thread through one of these eyelets, and I'll just show you. There you go. Here's me now winding it by hand. I've got about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, right, okay. You can see some of the difficulty I'm having, okay? I've got about 6 winds on there in about 30 seconds, okay? So if I was to put 8,000 winds on by hand, me turning it by hand, then it's going to take, possibly a full day to do, okay? And it's not going to be a great result either. It's going to be quite a sort of odd looking pickup at the end of it. So what we do is, okay, and this is what my sort of definition of hand wound here. I'm going to use this as an example, okay? We actually mount, not to this, okay, but we mount the pickup, okay, I'm just going to break that otherwise, because I will break it at some point. We mount this to a machine, okay, and the machine turns it for us, and we have a counter that tells us how many times it's turned. And we sit there, and with this mounted to our winder, the winder turns it at a certain speed, and it goes round and round and round, and we sit there and we hand guide the copper wire onto the bobbin. Okay, now that obviously is really hard for me to show you anything with that today, because it's not very big obviously. So what I want you to do later on is imagine, and this is the Johnny Ball bit, the home sciencey type of bit, I want you to imagine that this is the bobbin of a pickup that I'm describing. Okay, I'll take all of that off. So we put that on a machine, it turns it for us, we hand guide it on. Okay, so that's hand wound. That's our definition, and most people's definition. And really, I suppose what we should be saying is that it's hand-fed or hand-guided. Okay, but that's the term that's stuck in guitar pickup making world, is hand-winding pickups and hand-wound. But really, the machine turns it for us, and we guide it on by hand. Okay, so that's what a hand-wound pickup is. So I hear you ask, well, you didn't, but machine wound. What does machine wound mean? Well, same thing again. You mount it on a machine. But instead of sitting there and holding the wire and hand guiding it on, you've actually got a machine to do it, okay? So you get a machine to actually do that. Now, why would you want to do that? Okay, well, call me cynical, but I think the main reason why you would want to stop using humans to actually guide the wire on and get machines to do it would really be to cut costs. It's obviously cheaper because you haven't got to pay a machine, a wage. Once you've bought the machine, you've got the machine, it does the job for you. Now, a lot of pickup makers will say, oh, it's more consistent. Okay. Yeah, I suppose it is in every single pickup. You know, if I take a neck pickup like this and machine wind it, then this one wound today on Monday morning will sound exactly the same as one wound on Friday afternoon. Okay, so yeah, okay, it could be more consistent, but I think really using that as the motivation for machine winding pickups, yeah, as I said, I'm a bit cynical. I think really the main reason why somebody would want to get a machine to wound to guide on the copper instead of a human would be because it's cheaper. So if you think about it, if you're making a set of pickups for, like, I don't know, £200, then there's going to be a lesser cost, so therefore they make more money. Okay. Now, how would you know if your pickup had been machine wound or hand wound? Really, it's widely considered that hand wound pickups, you know, that's a plus point. It's a selling point, if you like, and so people will want to boast about it. So if you're looking down pickup spec, and if it doesn't say hand wound, you know, then it isn't hand wound, and therefore it will be machine wound. Okay, so again, just to recap, hand wound, it's turned by machine, but we hand guide it on. That's the helicopter sound, by the way. Okay, so machine wound is turned by machine, and a machine guides it on. Okay, so that's the definition between hand wound and machine wound. Okay, that helicopter is not, you know, they're not looking for me, by the way. Okay, anyway, so spotting if your pickups are hand wound, you know, you're looking on the internet, you're thinking, oh great, these look like a great set of pickups for me, for my guitar, they're going to give me the sound I want. Oh, it doesn't mention hand wound, then they're not hand wound. Okay, it's a real plus point that they're hand wound, so anybody who makes pickups is going to be boasting about that in the description of the pickups. You go down a specification, it'll say handcrafted or hand wound. If it doesn't, then it's machine wound. It's a bit like if you're buying an acoustic guitar and you're looking through the spec of it and it says, oh, solid spruce top. Okay, and you think, oh brilliant, solid spruce top, is going to age better. Now, if it doesn't say the word solid, then it's laminate, because you want to boast about that. You're making acoustic guitars, you spent the money on a real nice piece of solid spruce, you want to make that really explicit. When you're selling that and listing your item, you're going to say it's a solid spruce top. So when you're looking down, and it can be a bit misleading, if it doesn't say that word solid, then it's laminate, because they would be boasting about it. Similar with pickups. If it doesn't say hand wound, then it isn't. Okay, there might be like one exception to that, but generally you're going to be boasting about it. Okay, so if it doesn't say hand wound, it's probably machine wound. Okay, now why would you want to hand wound a pickup? Okay, because as I said, there is that argument, yeah, it'd be more consistent, each pickup's going to sound the same. Okay, but really there's only a couple of us here that wind the pickups, and we're very careful with how we wind the pickups, and we check with each other, we make sure we use the same winding style for the pickups, and we're very, very consistent in making sure that there's not huge variation between our pickups, because effectively we wind them with the same style between the pair of us, and that's what we do. Okay, so we can ensure consistency even with you know, using humans. Okay, so you can get consistency if you make sure you do things carefully. Right, I'm playing with that now. I did that in school as well. Okay, now, so why would you want a hand wound pickup? It's commonly believed that if you've got a scatter wound pickup, okay, and if I just imagine now that this is wire going on, okay, this is what I would call, you know, if I just sit here, or stand here rather, and put it on straight, that's what I would call, see there, it's just all going on straight. Okay, and again, you can imagine that this is the wire now. Okay, but you can see the effect now, it's all going in one place. Yeah, that's what I would call a plain wound pickup. Okay, so everything is just put on straight. Okay, now as opposed to that, you've got scatter wound, which if you think about it, if you see this kind of X thing I've got going on here, that's where really, instead of just putting it all on straight, I've gone like this. And as you can see, I'm just varying. Now this is obviously an exaggeration of a pickup, okay? But you can see that I'm just scattering it on. And if you like, it's going in like an X pattern. Okay, now I can vary this, you know, I can do it in a wild scatter, I could do it in a tight scatter, and actually, you know, each one is going to make a different sound. And we know this because we've done the science behind it. We've wound pickups, countless pickups in different styles. We wound them with a tight scatter, we wound them with a wild scatter, we wound them straight on, okay? And we measured it, and we went along, we went, that's what that sounds like. And that's what that sounds like. And, ooh, right, if we wind it this way, we can get more mids. If we do it that way, we get a mid scoop. And we did the science behind it. So we know a lot about pickup making, and we believe that we go further than a hell of a lot of people in terms of the science that we do. Okay, as you can see, you know, this is, we've got the Johnny Ball approach going on here. Okay, so it's widely accepted that a scatter wound pickup like this kind of X pattern is going to give more presence. It's going to give more clarity and more character. You know, classically, a lot of pickups through the ages have been hand wound, and people stick to this and they believe that it gives a better sound, and we believe that too. Okay, but it's one of those things, you've got to, you know, I can describe it to you, I can use lots of adjectives, I can use these kind of woolly adjectives like creamy, it sounds beefy. You know, what does beefy sound like? Yeah, beefy's a flavour, isn't it, right? So I'm going to try and stick away from kind of these adjectives, although it's hard not to use them, and you will find me using them again, because we're so used to saying, oh yeah, it's got a beefy tone, okay? But really, what does that mean? Who knows? You've got to really plug them in. You've got to, whether you get, you know, you order a set in the post and then put it in your guitar, you know, or whether you go into a shop and you try out some pickups, or you go to a friend who's got some hand-wound pickups, and you find out what they sound like by ear and notice a difference yourself, okay? Because you may have bought like a nice guitar but that's got machine wound pickups, and then your mate's there in rehearsal and he's like, oh, whoa, your guitar sounds way better than mine. It's like, he's probably got a nicer set of pickups in there, okay? So the proof is always in the pudding. Go out, try pickups, try different guitars with different pickups in, and see the different, or hear the difference yourself, okay? But that's what I would say generally. If you've got a scatter wound, i.e. hand wound pickup, then you're going to get a lot more presence and a lot more character to your tone, okay? A bit more oomph. That's a good word, okay? Because it describes that kind of power and sort of presence to the character of the tone of your guitar. Now, another thing to point out, okay, is speed, okay? If you're making a pickup, of course, you know, one of the things that our machine does is obviously it turns it, okay? Now we can turn the pickup, you know, at, I don't know, 100 revs per minute, let's say, 100 revolutions a minute. So this would turn 100 times a minute, okay? Or at the other end of the spectrum, your machine might turn at, let's say, 8,000 revs per minute. And a lot of the sort of big pickup makers, they've got machines that turn very, very fast, okay? So this, if you think about it, 8,000 winds on a Strat pickup would mean that this pickup, when machine wound at that sort of speed, or hand wound, would be wound in a minute. So somebody's making your pickup, well actually not somebody, but you know, your pickup is being wound and your tone for your guitar is being done in 1 minute, okay? And you're paying a lot of money for that, okay? Now we spend a long time actually winding each pickup and inspecting it, and obviously we've done all the research on how to get the best tone for you, right? We certainly spend a lot longer than a minute making your pickup, okay? And that's why our pickups have a certain price, because we put a hell of a lot into them. Now we don't wind at 8,000 revs per minute because that would be ridiculous. We don't wind at like 4,000 revs per minute. I'm not going to give you the speed, but it's a lot slower, okay? And we stop and we inspect the pickup, and then we proceed and we make sure that it's going as it should be. We take a lot of time and a lot of attention over your pickup. We're not winding them in seconds flat, okay? And we make everything, and if it's not good enough, it doesn't go out. Simple as. And one of the reasons I'm talking about speed is because, you know, I said like a scatter wound pickup would have more presence and clarity. Well, if you think about it, with me just going from left to right like this, then my pickup will be scatter wound. It will have that kind of X pattern to the winds. Okay, so I'm trying to do this whilst turning it as well. Now obviously if I'd thought about this properly I could have got like some sort of crank, you know. There you go. So you can see it's going on in an X pattern, okay? I wonder what speed I'm going at there. About, I don't know, 1 turn per second, maybe slower. So really that would be around about 60 revolutions per minute, let's say. Then it will be scattered. Yeah? This, you know, if I go like this and wildly do it, or if I do it in a tight pattern, it will be scattered because it's going at 60 revolutions per minute. Now we go a lot faster than that, but we don't do 8,000 revolutions per minute or 4,000 revolutions per minute. It's like a lot of big pickup makers who really their aim is to make the pickup quickly, okay, because they want to make a lot more money. Now the point of what I'm making is, if this was turning at 8,000 revs per minute, which I could obviously not come anywhere near replicating, it wouldn't matter how much I stood there scattering, because actually if I twist that, there you go, oh, that doesn't work. It wouldn't matter how much I scatter. When you turn at 4,000, 8,000 revs per minute, I can be scattering like crazy, okay? It won't be a scatter wound pickup, will it? This is the effect you'll have, because it's turning so quick, okay? And what we found is, when you have this, which if you remember, I called a plain wound pickup, and this is really what your machine wound pickup is going to look like. It's plain wound, okay? It doesn't matter how much. When I turn at 8,000 revs per minute, it's going to be plain wound, okay? So a machine wound pickup is never really going to be scatter wound pickup, okay? And that's going to hurt the tone. And what I would say is it sounds kind of sterile. It's lacking that presence. It's lacking that sort of character. And you know, it's very consistent sounding pickup from pickup to pickup, okay? But it's lacking tone, effectively, right? So big companies who make machine wound pickups, who do them in a minute, and they spend that much time on your tone, they're never really going to end up with a scatter wound pickup. They're going to end up with a plain wound pickup because of the speed, okay? But when you go slower, you can scatter, and we just get a much nicer tone. So that's kind of the end of this episode of Radioshop Tone Tips. We're going to have lots more come in. If you can you click on subscribe, and you'll be the first to hear about any new videos, okay? Obviously, check out our website, radioshoppickups.com or radioshoppickups.co.uk. We've also got Facebook as well. If you can give us a like on that, that'd be amazing. And we're going to be doing lots of different subjects like installing pickups, how to solder for guitarists. We'll be looking at pickup height setting, okay, pull piece height setting on humbuckers, lots of different videos. But I hope you've enjoyed the video today, where I've shown you, you know, what hand winding means, okay, that it's held on and the machine turns it and we hand feed. What machine wound means, which is machine turns it, machine feeds. And I hope I've shown you really just kind of some of the principles of, you know, why you might want to consider going with a set of lovely hand wound pickups like ours. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.